never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a
A question that I asked yesterday. How's everybody feeling today? Are you good? Everybody good? Did anybody doesn't feel well this morning? Okay, good deal. During the time since we adjourned yesterday, have there been any discussions about this case with anybody? Need everybody to tell me no or yes, either way. Okay. Has anybody approached any of you in any attempt to discuss the case or inquire? Did any of you do any research or look on any social media site or try to review the day's events online? Anybody do that? Okay. Good deal. Thank you very much. Are we ready to go? All right. So call the next witness. Danny Petrie.
Yes.
Good morning.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Yes, sir. So you're Danny Petrie,
I am.
and you're a former Dyer County Sheriff's Deputy?
Correct.
Were you employed by the Sheriff's Office on October 30th, 2011?
I was.
Were you on duty that afternoon?
I was.
Did you have the occasion to go to 65 Willie Johnson Road in Dyer County?
That's correct.
Okay, tell us the purpose of your visit there.
Sergeant Walker was headed back out there, I think, for some follow-up questions or to speak with Mr. Swift again. I was in the area. He asked me to meet him out there.
Okay, and did you, in fact, meet him there?
I did.
Okay, tell us what you encountered when you got there.
When I got there, Sergeant Walker was already on scene talking to Mr. Swift. I pulled up behind him and got out, mainly observed.
Okay, where were they talking?
In the driveway.
Okay. Were you able to observe whether or not the garage doors to the home were open?
To my knowledge, they were closed.
Okay. Did you, and on that visit, did you or Sergeant Walker go in the home?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you see Sergeant Walker go in the home?
No, sir.
Okay. What did y'all do while you were there besides talk to Mr. Swift?
That's basically it. It was just a conversation. Mainly, Sergeant Walker was the one doing the communicating. I mainly listened, sit back and observed.
Did y'all walk around the house or anything like that?
As far as around the house, no. I mean, it might have been a pace in the driveway, but no, there was no walking around the house.
Okay. Were you a canine officer at the time?
I was.
Okay. Did you have your dog with you at the time?
He's always with me.
Okay. Did you take your dog out of the truck and employ him for any law enforcement related purpose that day?
On that particular incident, no.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Mr. Petrie.
Good morning.
All right. Can everybody hear me? All right. You were law enforcement on October the 30th of 2011.
Is that a question?
Yes.
It is, yes.
All right. How long had you been with is it the Sheriff's Department?
Correct.
You had been with the Sheriff's Department how long?
Since 2007 was my hire year.
Okay. Do you know around what time you arrived on that day?
Not
Was it afternoon or evening?
It was evening, before dark.
All right. And that was when you first arrived at the Swift house?
Correct.
Okay. You arrived in a vehicle by yourself?
Me and my dog.
Okay. And Officer Walker, was he there when you arrived?
Correct.
He was already at the driveway.
Correct.
You pulled up.
Correct.
He was standing there. Was Mr. Swift there, or do you recall?
I do.
Was Mr. Swift there?
He was.
Okay. You don't know how long they had been there before you pulled up, do you?
No, sir.
You don't know if Officer Walker had been there before you pulled up and left and came back, do you?
I do not.
All right. And you talked with Officer Walker and Mr. Swift.
Is that a question?
You're all talking.
Is that a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, we were.
Okay. And you didn't notice anything out of the ordinary or unusual while you're standing in the driveway, did you?
That's hard for me to answer.
You're talking to Officer.
Define unordinary.
You're talking to Officer Walker.
I'm talking to Officer
Yes,
Walker?
sir.
Are you asking me if I am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this sounds more like statements, not questions, so I didn't know.
Let me back up.
Okay.
Officer Walker and Mr. Swift are standing there, and you drive up.
Is that a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they were, yes.
All right. Listen to what I say and then respond.
No, sir. No, if you ask a question, I will respond. You're sounding like statements.
And then you pulled up. Did you pull up to the house when Mr. Swift and Officer Walker are already up there?
I did, yes.
All right. And you get out. Do you get out of your vehicle?
I do.
And do you go to where Officer Walker and Mr. Swift are standing?
I do.
Okay. And when you pulled up, you don't know how long. Are you saying you don't know how long they had been there previously to you pulling up?
Not an exact time, no.
Right. And that was your first involvement? Was that your first involvement that day at the Swift house?
It was.
Okay. Are you not exactly sure of the time frame of when you pulled up?
I testified that it was later in the afternoon.
Okay. And did you notice anything unusual or out of the ordinary while you're standing there talking to Officer Walker and Mr. Swift?
Define unusual. What do you mean?
I'm just asking, do you see anything unusual or out of the ordinary?
That's a vague question. I don't define unusual or unordinary.
Do you
I don't live in that home, so I don't know what's typically normal for that home. Or
do you see any debris or do you smell anything?
I don't smell anything. No, I mean no, sir.
Okay. And how long were you there before you left?
It wasn't too long. I couldn't put a time on it.
Okay. Could it have been a matter of just a few moments?
As far as putting a time on it, I'm unsure.
Okay. And then at some point, did you leave?
I did.
All right. You're not saying you were there for hours?
Not to my recollection, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, I asked you about something out of the ordinary. Were you able to observe Mr. Swift's demeanor while you were there?
I was, yes.
Did you notice anything about his demeanor that caught your attention?
During the course of conversation with Sergeant Walker, he was energetic when talking about prior law enforcement experience when he was a reserve. And then when it went to his wife, his demeanor did change.
Okay, describe how his demeanor changed, please.
He dropped his head. He wasn't excited to
You can describe.
Objection's going to be overruled. Go ahead.
his demeanor did change. He would drop his head. You could tell a big difference from the conversation with law enforcement with being kind of upbeat, energetic, fast to respond to questions like that. When it came to questions with his wife, there was more hesitation. It wasn't that he was not answering the questions. It was more of a thought process. He had to think about what his answer was going to be, and more unsure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you saying that when Mr. Swift spoke and answered questions, he paused at times?
At times, correct.
Yes. All right. That's what you noticed.
Not just the pause, no.
All right. And that he either looked up or looked down at different times.
I testified to down.
Okay. Are you saying that Mr. Swift answered questions for you and the other officer?
He did answer, but his answers were different.
All right. Did words come out of his mouth when you asked questions?
Some were faster than others, but yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? You can step down, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The witness released.
He's also speaking about the defense.
Mr. Taylor? All right, sir. You're free to go, sir. Thank you. Call your next witness.
Bill Bona.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good morning.
Morning.
Would you state your name, please?
Bill Bona.
Okay. And Mr. Bona, do you know David Swift?
I do.
Do you see him here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Okay. And where is he?
Here.
Sitting at the defense table?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you also know Karen Swift?
I did.
Okay. Tell me how you knew Mr. Swift and Mrs. Swift.
I met him through my wife, met Karen through my wife, and the same way with David.
Okay. How long did you know the two of them?
Probably 6 months. I mean, I knew of them, and I really wasn't close to them or hadn't met them. Probably 6, 8 months.
Okay. Do you recall attending a Christmas party in which you and Mr. Swift sat near one another and had a conversation?
Yes.
Do you recall that conversation?
It was really, more me listening, but it was just an uncomfortable conversation. I mean, he kind of told me his life story, and everything was, it was uncomfortable for me. Everything was how people didn't give him a chance and take him seriously, and he overcame that through music and other things, so.
Hold on just a second, sir. Go ahead.
Your Honor, we are going to establish that there was a pattern of behavior by Mr. Swift, and this was just 6 to 8 months prior to.
Okay. Why don't we let the jury go to the jury room and let's deal with this, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go to the jury room. Don't discuss the case, please.
All right.
All right, let's be seated. Whoa, I came over there. Objection. The basis of the objection is relevance. The court's got to understand context, timing, and how material this is in order to sort this out. Mr. Taylor, you agree with that? Do you agree with what I'm saying? About yes, if I'm on the right track in my analysis, I guess.
Can I say one thing? Can I ask the witness while we're having a discussion?
Well, I anticipate that there's going to have to be an offer of proof in the matter. So,
Actually, I don't have many more questions in that area to ask Mr. Bona, but I can explain to you why.
are you going to ask him about the details of the conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, this is 6 months before.
I mean, he said that, but there's no proof at this moment about that or the content of the conversation.
And the prosecutor is trying to talk about stories from the past of Mr. Bona and Mr. Swift. I mean, this trial will be like 5 weeks long. I mean, the relevance as to what happened on these events.
I can explain the relevance, Your Honor, but I don't know if you want me to do that.
I understand the objection. What I need to understand now is what's the testimony that you want the jury to hear?
Yes, sir. Okay, let me go ahead and ask Mr. Bona. Okay. Mr. Bona, did you have a conversation with Mr. Swift at a Christmas party?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me some of the things that he told you in that conversation.
What I can remember about it is that I was just uncomfortable. It was a lot, like I said, I remember something about going to college or after high school and being in a musical person and people not giving him a chance and not believing in him, and he proved them all wrong. And that was kind of the scope of a couple other, little stories. I really wasn't a conversation. It was me listening. And I just remember when we left and when we got home, discussed with my wife, I said I was really uncomfortable. And that's...
Did he talk to you about his childhood?
I don't remember anything about his young child or anything. I mean, I think most of the things I remember was about high school and college he was telling me about, but that's,
Okay. Your Honor, then I don't have to ask those questions. I can move on from that.
Well, here's the thing.
There are going to be issues at a later time that are going to talk about things in the past.
The objection is going to be sustained at this moment. Court finds that the testimony is not relevant to the issues at trial at this time. Obviously, that may change as we go forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ready to bring jury back in?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, let's be seated. All right, General, you can go ahead.
Mr. Bona, did Karen Swift come to your house very often?
She came over on the weekends and maybe during the week once or so, from what I remember,
Okay. When she did come by the house, what type things would y'all typically do?
Well, I would say most of the time I wasn't there. I mean, I know her and my wife, did stuff with the kids, and they went to parks and they went to Reelfoot Lake. But I mean, if I was there, then they were just having conversation. As far as anything I remember, it's just getting together and having conversation like women do. And sometimes I would sit with them. Sometimes I'd have other things to do. But
okay. Were there other people there typically, or was it usually just?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it might be another girl or two,
Okay. Just typical conversation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did Miss Swift ever come over to the house late at night after she had put the kids in bed and then come over late?
I don't remember anything like that. I mean, I'm in bed pretty early myself most of the time, but I don't remember anything like that.
Okay. Do you know what time typically Miss Swift would leave when she did come over to visit? And let's say throughout the week, on a weekday.
I would say before midnight, 11, 12 o'clock. I mean, that's really kind of a late hour for us, but I would say I don't ever remember it being any later than that.
Okay. Did you ever host parties that David Swift and Karen Swift attended?
We had one get together for Kathy's 40th birthday party that they were invited to. Yes.
Okay. And how many people were at that party? Just an estimate.
At the farms, there was probably 20 or 30 couples, maybe 15, 20 couples that we had some dinner and music at the farms.
Okay, so it wasn't actually at your home. The
no,
party.
not to start with. Maybe 5 or 8 couples came back to the house afterwards,
Okay.
But not, it was at the farms to begin with.
Okay. What'd you do when you came back to the house?
Just had conversation and hung out, Just
Okay. Do you have a hot tub?
We did there, yes.
Okay. Did people get inside the hot
Yeah,
tub?
some people did, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember who got inside the hot tub? Do you remember if Mr. Swift got inside the hot tub?
No, I don't. I don't remember
Okay.
who exactly. Now, I know my wife got in at some point, and I was sitting with her, but no, I don't.
Do you know if Miss Swift was in the hot tub?
I would say she was, yes. I mean, I don't remember specifically seeing her, but she enjoyed getting in the hot tub when she came over, in the wintertime when it was cold, so I'm sure she was.
Okay. Do you remember how people were dressed?
Oh, it was, the people in the hot tub were dressed to be in the hot tub, and then the, people outside, it was cool. It was still early in the spring, so.
Okay. Did anyone have no clothes on in the hot tub?
I would say probably, yes. Maybe it did, but of course, you can't see through the water in the hot tub or anything else, so it didn't it was anything that I would, to see when you're sitting in there submerged, but.
Okay. Did anything happen later that night?
Well, when the party was all getting done, when everybody was generally starting to leave and say their goodbyes, I went through the front room, just letting everybody leave and everything in our house, and Miss Swift was there. She was laying on the couch, and she didn't have anything on. She was about asleep. So I kind of said, hey, it's time to go. And at that point in time, one of her friends was coming in from behind me, and I said, well, let me get you a towel, or get her a towel. She didn't, I didn't see her clothes there close, and said, let me go tell David to come get her. Everybody's leaving. He needs to come get her and move on.
And who was the friend that came in? Do you remember?
It was Rob and Alfred, I think. Yeah.
Did she make any statements to you about what are you doing or anything like that?
No, not to me at the time, no.
Okay. Was your wife near?
She came in afterwards. I think when I walked back through, she was in the, in the room right next door and right there too. And I said, hey, they're getting, I'm going to go get David, get Karen, get her to the house and go, and everything's shutting down. But
did you go get Mr. Swift?
yes. I think I went and got him, but he was close. Like I said, it wasn't a really big house, so, the whole thing's pretty much open to itself.
Okay. So did he come in and take care of Karen?
As far as I know, I wasn't in there, when that happened that I can remember, but, everyone else was leaving. And
okay. Did Mr. Swift's attitude change after that evening?
Well, I don't necessarily know if it changed because I really didn't have any conversation with him. I made it a point not to have any conversation with him because I was uncomfortable. And to be honest with you we invited them to the party because Kathy and Karen were good friends, and that's why they're invited, being cordial. but I really didn't have any interaction with him.
Okay. Were there other parties at your house after that?
No. I mean, we had, a couple to come over, go out to dinner, but as far as a party that was something that people were invited to,
Okay.
no.
Was there another time that individuals were at the house and got into the hot tub, that Miss Swift was there?
I'm sure, yes. I mean, what you're referring to is the time, that they were in the Lee Bond and Shannon Lee going out to dinner with us, and
Yes.
they were there, yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Was Mr. Swift present that night?
He wasn't at first, and he wasn't invited, and he wasn't welcome. But
Okay. Why was he not welcome?
my wife and I were uncomfortable with him.
Okay.
It's the best I can tell you. We were not interested in a friendship, so with him.
All right, understand. Tell me what happened that night.
We were having conversation and, just regular night, and it wasn't really late. If I can remember right, we went out and had dinner and came back, and Kathy had gone to bed and retired and gone upstairs to bed, and the night was getting longer, so I came in the living room there right off the deck and was about asleep in a chair, and Mr. Swift burst into the door, there and startled me and asked her, asked where Karen was.
Did he knock on the door and ask to come in?
No, he didn't.
How did he come in?
He just opened the door and came in and, in a loud voice asked me where Karen was. It kind of startled me. But I said, well, she's upstairs talking to Kathy.
What was his demeanor at that time?
He was agitated, I would say, but I would also say it really caught me off guard.
Okay. And what did he do?
He went upstairs and talked to them, I imagine, and by the time I kind of shook my head and wiped my eyes, I thought, I don't like this, and I went to get out of the chair to go, ask him to leave, basically, and he came down the stairs and left.
Did he make any statements to you when he came down?
He did not to me.
How did he appear when he came down, as far as his attitude and demeanor?
I mean, he came down the stairs and left abruptly and left through the door, quickly enough where I couldn't even really get a word in edgewise, because I should have pressed that issue there. He wasn't welcome in our house. He basically was there trespassing, and I should have pressed that issue, but I didn't.
Okay. Do you know of any times after that Mr. Swift followed Miss Swift or checked her phones?
I don't personally know. I know she told me that, but seeing it happen, the only thing I know for sure is that she had told us after the phone, the older line that I'd given her to be able to speak with her attorney, when she told me that he has this number, and when she told me that, I pulled the records off the computer of the calls to that number, and there was 2 or 3 calls from what she said it was his phone number. Yes, that's it, to that phone.
Okay. So Mr. Swift had actually called the phone that you had loaned Ms. Swift. Okay, and I'm going to get into that a little more in a few minutes. Did you know that Ms. Swift had either filed for divorce or wanted to file for a divorce?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know if she had the money available to file for divorce?
She told us that she didn't.
Okay. And did you loan her any money?
After conversation with my wife and, her asking, yes, we did.
I'm going to hand you a document. recognize that document?
Yes.
What is that?
It's basically a rudimentary promissory note that she was going to pay back, you know, the money we had loaned her, and she was putting up a four-wheeler she had and said that was hers, that, you know, to kind of secure it, because she wanted to pay us back more money, and I didn't want that and ask her to do that. So that's kind of what predicated us doing this.
Okay. And how much money did you loan Miss Swift?
$2,000.
Okay. And what was the date of that loan?
10/3.
Okay. And do you know what the purpose of the loan was?
For her to give to her attorney to file for divorce.
Okay. Would you make that an exhibit to your testimony, please?
Be admitted as number 14. Did you want it published to the jury or not?
No, sir, Your Honor. What we've shown is fine.
All right.
I've already
You've been showing it?
I just showed it.
I missed it. I'm
I
sorry.
took it down, Your Honor.
I didn't see it. Had my head down.
Okay. Shortly after giving that loan, let me back up first. Did Ms. Swift repay any of that loan to you?
Yes, I think she had repaid $650 of it to us.
Okay. So that, I take it that was in a fairly short period of time.
Oh yeah, you know, in a week or two.
Okay. After loaning that money to Ms. Swift, did she go on a vacation with you? And when I say you, I mean you and your family.
Yes, she did. We'd had a vacation plan to Gulf Shores for many months, and a condominium, you know, but in a week or two before we went, another couple that was going to go with us with their children had to back out. So that happened like a week before we left, and so we had a 3-bedroom condominium with tons of space, and they went with us, her and her daughters.
Okay. Do you know why she wanted to go on that vacation?
She told us that she didn't want to be around when David was served the papers for divorce.
Okay.
And
did she tell Mr. Swift that she was taking the girls and going on this vacation?
as far as I know, no. You know, that was I think that was the point, that she didn't want him to know, you know, where she was or where she was going when he got served the papers.
Okay. And did she and the children stay with you and your family, or did they stay in that extra condo?
Well, they stayed. It was one big condo with three separate living areas. So they stayed in one of the separate living areas in the condo, her and her daughters.
Okay. Now, you started talking about a phone earlier, so I want to go back to that. Did you ever loan a phone to Miss Swift?
I did.
Okay. And do you remember what type phone it was?
It was a Voyager, I think is what they're called. It was like a little flip-up phone that had a keyboard underneath it, you know, an older rudimentary phone.
Okay. Was it your phone, or why did you have an extra phone?
The history of the number was a year or two prior, it was one of my employees' phones that I'd bought my employees. He left my employment, and our oldest son had turned 11 or 12, and we finally decided to let him have a phone. So it was his number for about 6 months a year, and then we got him a new phone and a new number. So that line was active. You know, I was paying for it because it was under contract, but it was just sitting there. So.
Okay. So you didn't go specifically buy a phone just to give to Miss Swift?
No, we had it, and the line was active and, you know, paid for. I mean, she was discussing with us that she didn't know how she was going to talk to her attorney. And I said, well, I got a line, you know, that I know I'm paying for that nobody has, and do anything with it. I don't mind if you use it.
Okay. All right. And do you know if Mr. Swift knew that she had that second phone?
She told me that he knew at some point in time, a week or so, you know, a short time after she had it. And when she told me that, you know, I pulled up my records, all my phone records, and I can see the calls that were going there. And I said, "Was this the number?" And she said, "Yes, that's the number." So.
Okay, so you were actually able to verify that Mr. Swift's phone number had called that second phone that you loaned Miss Swift?
Yes.
Okay, and was that prior to the Halloween party on October 29th?
Yes.
Okay, on October 29th of 2011, did you and your wife attend a Halloween party at the farms?
Yes.
Okay, and did Miss Swift attend that party also?
Yes.
Did Mr. Swift attend the party?
No, not that I know of. Not with us.
Okay. Did Miss Swift meet you there, or did she come to your house and go? How did that happen?
She came. She was at our house, and her and my wife got ready, and then when I got home, we went together.
Okay. So,
she went with us from our house over to the farm.
Okay. All right. Do you remember about what time you arrived at that party?
We weren't the first ones in the door. But it was probably 7 or 8. It wasn't late. It was early on.
Okay. All right. And while you were at the party, were you around Miss Swift most of the night?
Some of the night. There was a lot of people there at the party, and we were just generally mingling, but, we weren't, I'd say maybe 15, 20% of the time, maybe we were in close proximity,
Okay. Did you see Miss Swift dancing with anyone that night?
Didn't see her dancing with anyone specifically. She danced with my wife, and in a big group setting dance. So that's kind of what everybody was doing, but no.
Not one individual person.
No.
Okay. Did you see her have an argument with anyone that night?
No.
Did she seem like anything was out of ordinary that night?
Not at the party or anything. No.
Okay. Do you remember what time you left the party?
It was somewhere midnight, maybe a little bit later. It wasn't late. We typically don't ever stay out any later than that, so that's,
Okay.
It was probably around 12:30, if I had to guess.
Okay. Do you remember what you did after leaving the party?
Yeah, we went to McDonald's through the drive-thru and got some French fries, and then we returned to our home.
Okay. Do you know if Miss Swift had plans for the following morning? She had something planned that she was going to do?
She had told us that she had to finish cleaning a house in Mason Hall for a Habitat for Humanity she'd been working on.
Okay. And after getting back to your house, did you sit around for a while? Did she leave immediately? What happened?
We just got back to the house and, basically starting to shut it down for the night. And her and Kathy were in the living room, just had conversation. And then she came, got up and said, "Hey, I'm going to leave." That my daughter was at a sleepover, and something had happened there, and she was going to get her and to go home.
Okay. And do you recall about what time that was?
It had to be around 1 o'clock or so, if I had to guess. Just the timing of it had to be probably around 1.
Okay. And after Miss Swift left your house that night, well, let me ask you this first before I get into that. Did you see Miss Swift drink any alcohol that night?
I'm sure I saw her with a beer in her hand at some point in time. Yes.
Okay. Were you concerned about her driving? Did you ask her anything about that?
When she was going to leave, I asked her multiple times, are you sure you're okay to drive? And she assured me she was, and it did not seem to me that she was impaired, bad with her wits about her, and her daughter had called, and she was going to get her. It wasn't going to really matter, but I asked.
But the reason you asked the question was because you knew she had.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear from Miss Swift again after she left your house at 1 that morning?
No.
Okay. The next morning, October 30th of 2011, do you remember what you did that morning?
We got up and went to church.
Okay.
And then went to eat at not a China Star, the other restaurant, Chinese restaurant there in Dyersburg.
Okay.
Buffet.
Did you or Miss Bona attempt to contact Miss Swift?
She did. I think she sent her some texts and said she hadn't heard from her.
Okay. Never was able to get in contact with her?
No.
What happened after that? Were you concerned, or was
I think our conversation was at lunch that she hadn't heard from her, but we thought that she was probably over at Mason Hall cleaning this house.
okay?
You know, I remember we had that conversation. I said she's probably over at Mason Hall cleaning that house, because that's what she, you know, her plans were, at least for what she told us.
Okay. Was there a time that you became concerned?
Yes, we came home from eating lunch, and then when I was basically walking out the door to go to a high school football practice, and my wife was sitting at the top of the stairs in our office area and said, "Hey," her phone, I guess her phone rang. Said, "Hey, this is David calling me." And I, you know, I said, "Well, answer it." And she called and talked to him, and I stood there and waited and listened. And you know,
was the phone on? Do you recall if she had it on the speakerphone, or if?
Yeah, I mean, I could hear the conversation, you know, for the most part, and
Okay. And what did you hear?
that I heard that her car, he hadn't seen her all morning, and then her car was out on the side of the road down with a flat tire, you know, and abandoned basically, and she wasn't there. And had we seen her? You know, that's what he asked, and you know, Quick had said, "No, I've been texting her and I haven't seen her."
Okay. What'd you do at that point?
Well, with the car being there and the whole situation the way it was and the way we felt about things, I stood there right there while they were on the phone, and I called the sheriff's department and asked, you know, did they have any kind of record or problem going on with that car out there with that flat tire?
Okay. What was your purpose of calling the sheriff's department?
I mean, we were concerned about where she was.
Okay. Were you concerned that she may have been arrested?
I've had employees over the years in the past that have gotten in trouble, and I've had to call the sheriff's department just to try to track them down to see if something had happened with them. So, you know, I knew that I could call, and if that was a possibility, that, you know, at least we would know where she was. But I mean, I was genuinely concerned about the whole situation.
What was the primary purpose of the phone call?
To locate her.
Okay. After calling the sheriff's department, do you know if Mr. Swift had called the sheriff's department prior to you doing that?
I don't know that.
Okay. What'd you do after making that phone call?
Kathy and I drove out to where the car was.
Okay.
And
Did you drive together or separate?
No, we drove separate. You know, because even on the way out there, we thought, well, maybe she's over at Mason Hall, and I'll go over there and check that. So we drove separate out there.
Okay. When you arrived at the car, was anyone else there?
No.
Just you and your
Yeah,
wife?
when we arrived there, and shortly after we got there, Mr. Rollins pulled up where Ashley was spending the night before, and he pulled up too.
Who was that?
Mr. Rollins.
Okay. So he was the next person to arrive?
Yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Swift arrive while you were there?
No.
Okay. And how far was the car from Miss Swift's house?
Around the corner. I mean, couldn't have been much more than a half, quarter mile maybe.
Okay. Was it close enough that she could have walked home?
Oh, yes.
Did you notice anything about the car?
Well, we looked at the flat tire at that point, and then Mr. Rollins was there with me, and you know, immediately saw it was sheet metal screw, you know, sticking out of the tire 2 or 3 inches.
Okay. Did anyone else arrive while you were there?
No.
Okay. So what did you do next?
At that point, I told Kathy and Mr. Rollins, I said, well, I'm going to go to Mason Hall, and hopefully she is just there cleaning this house and doing what she's, you know, what she planned to do. So I left and drove to Mason Hall.
Okay. And did you make it to that house?
Yes, made to the house. I talked to the neighbors behind it if they're out in the yard and asked them if they'd seen her that day. And they, said no, she'd been here the last couple of days, but we haven't seen her today.
Okay. Do you know if Miss Swift had a voicemail on her cell phone?
I don't know that.
Okay. After Miss Swift was missing, did you do anything to try to help locate Miss Swift?
Yeah, well, Kathy and I, kind of just haywire, kind of drove here and there, and she had done some landscaping, and got some rocks out by the Mississippi River for us, and then at some point in time we had heard that her cell phone pinged out there close to the Mississippi River, so, we drove down to that area, just kind of not with any real plan, just kind of wanting to try to do something to help locate her.
Okay. And do you know if Mr. Swift made any attempts to locate his wife?
I didn't have any contact with him, so I don't know. After that phone call with my wife, I didn't have any contact with him or anything.
And Mr. Bona, you've told us about your relationship with Miss Swift. Did you have a romantic relationship with Miss Swift?
No.
Your Honor, may I have just a moment? Your Honor, we'll pass the witness.
Good morning, Mr. Bona.
Good morning.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Yes, sir.
All right. You were interviewed by law enforcement at some point in the days after Karen Swift was missing.
Yes,
You talked with them and answered questions.
I did.
That was when it was fresh, I guess, on your mind.
Yes,
All right. This has been several years later here today.
yes,
Okay. Would you mind?
Yes.
A little hard hearing, sir. You gave Karen Swift a second phone so she didn't have to communicate with her husband.
I gave her the phone to be able to communicate with her attorney.
And you knew she was married at the time.
Yes,
You had the ability to look at the records on Karen Swift's phone, the one you gave her.
yes,
So you kept up, if you wanted to, with who she's calling and who's contacting her.
no.
You had access to the records.
I had access to all the records. I had probably 11 phones at that time on me, so I had access, but
You had access to the records, so you could see, if you wanted to, who she was calling or who was calling her on the phone you gave her.
yes,
All right. You knew that she had phone calls with Jamie Guerin?
I did not know that.
Okay. Thomas Haynes?
I did not know that.
You know who Thomas Haynes is?
I do not.
All right. On Kathy's 40th birthday, y'all had a party,
Yes.
involved a hot tub.
The party was at the farms. After the party at the house.
Right.
Yes,
Y'all invited people back to your house.
yes,
All right. Several people came.
yes,
Okay. The people that were in the hot tub, ones in the hot tub, half with clothes and half without clothes. Do you recall saying that to law enforcement when they asked you?
that's what I remember, yes.
was that the occasion where a lot of people are drinking at this hot tub thing?
There wasn't much drinking going on at this point. I mean, we didn't have drinks at our house to supply, so if they were, it was something they brought from the party themselves, but it was kind of an impromptu thing. You know, it wasn't planned, you know, so.
Now, that was the occasion, the hot tub party after the 40th birthday party, when you say that Karen got up out of the hot tub and went and laid down in the nude?
I said I saw her in the living room. I don't know what transpired before then. I didn't see her get out or see her leave the hot tub. I just found her there.
And then you went up to where she was?
I was walking through the living room, and yes, you know, opening the door, people were starting to leave, and she was there.
You and Karen were in the same room by yourselves?
Yes.
All right. Miss Alford walks in while you're in there with Kathy. Excuse me, Karen.
I turned around to go get a towel or find her, and she was there. You know,
Miss Alford?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's so. Like I said, the room is open. It's open to the next room. It's all open.
All right. And did you state when you talked to law enforcement that Karen was passed out drunk?
I don't remember the conversation. I'm sure it's there, but I mean, she was asleep, so, you know, from what I could see, so that would have been a deduction, yes.
All right. And did you state to law enforcement when you were interviewed on October 31st that I threw a big towel on her and so you can take it or leave it, whatever you wanted to do?
I don't remember saying that exactly, but I mean, I don't recall.
Okay. You did throw a big towel on her?
From what I remember, I thought that I asked Robin to get a towel and left the room, but maybe she had one with her. I do not recall exactly, but that was the purpose, to get her covered up.
You did answer a lot of questions back then for the law enforcement officers.
That was uncomfortable, and that was a situation, you know, that we felt like we were treated kind of unfairly in, but yes.
By law enforcement?
Yes.
Because when they brought you in, they read you your rights?
No, they asked us to come in. I mean, we had been to the police station multiple times voluntarily, trying to find her, trying to explain to them that something is not right here.
Right, but when you went in on October the 31st, didn't they advise you before you started this interview of your Miranda rights?
No.
That's not true?
No, I didn't. They were there. We were there to talk. I don't remember that.
Okay. If I could, can I pass this to you and ask you to look at this?
Sure. Okay.
Does that have a date on it, sir, of October 31st, 2011?
It does.
All right. Can I ask you to look at, I guess, page 3, and just read it to yourself to refresh your memory, just that top part, and then when you're done, just look up, sir. does that refresh your memory?
I'm sure I said this, but I don't remember specifically saying it, but I mean, it's here, so.
Were you, after looking at that, can I ask you, does that refresh your memory? Weren't you advised of your Miranda rights?
I don't remember that, but if it's here, I may have. Well, the purpose for us going in is they asked for our DNA, so I mean, and we had no problem providing that. So then it led into this. So I mean, I guess I did.
Okay. I asked you about a guy from Union City named Mr. Tom Hardy. Do you recall me asking that just a moment ago?
I remember you asking the name. Now,
You remember a guy from Union City?
I remember a guy from Union City. Yes, I didn't remember his name.
And do you remember him calling or having contact with Karen?
Looking at this, you know, remember what the context of this is that we had brought in those phone records, and I'm sure, you know, we went through them, you know, saying, even with Karen herself, whose number is this, whose number is this, and this is David's number.
And that may have been one of the numbers that you've answered?
Yeah, if I've got it here, then like I said, the records will show that that's it. I guess, you know, I don't remember the name specifically.
All right, on page 24, would you go there? On paragraph 18, you see the numbers down the side. Just look at that and see if that refreshes your memory.
Okay.
Did you tell them a guy named Tom from Union City?
I'm sure I told him that, but I didn't. If I knew that, I knew that through Kathy telling me.
All right.
You know, or maybe Karen telling me.
Well, let me ask this: didn't you and your wife take Karen to a concert in Caruthersville, a Kansas concert?
Yes, we all went together.
And isn't that where Karen met Tom in your presence?
She didn't meet him in my presence. We were there together, but there was a long, you know, there was a lot of time at the concert before that we weren't together. I don't ever remember meeting this person or seeing him.
Well, let me ask you this. On page 24, the same page, paragraph 14, would you look at that, just refresh your memory, and then let me ask you about it?
Okay.
Back then, didn't you tell the officers in your interview that you and your wife took Karen to a Kansas concert in Caruthersville?
That's what it says, yes.
Right. And this is you answering questions to law enforcement?
Yes.
All right. And then it was in the row right in front of us in the bar that night, a guy named Tom from Union City and Karen met or together. Did you say that?
I'm sure I said it if it's here. I don't remember saying it, but it's not surprising I won't remember. I was, you know, terribly flustered in this situation, answering all these questions. So I'm sure it's here. I'm sure I said it.
And didn't you also tell law enforcement that Karen and this guy named Tom flirted around a little bit and then got to know each other there on the top of page 25?
I'm sure that's what I said, but like I said, I do not ever. We never sat with the person or conversated. I don't ever remember seeing him. So
I'm showing you the transcript from the interview.
Well, I'm sure it's true. If it's on this transcript, yeah, I don't remember it, but I'm sure it's.
All right. Let me just go back just a couple things. Regarding finding Karen laying naked and then you going up to her, didn't you say she was just laying there, you know, and about nothing on her? I threw a big towel on her so you can take it or leave it, whatever you want to do, in response to law enforcement officers.
Yeah, I'm sure I said that because, like I said, I felt at that point that I was being accused of something, so I was pretty agitated during this interview.
And didn't you also tell law enforcement that, I don't know if David fabricated it or Robin said it about what happened?
If that's here,
Page 23.
yeah, if that's here, I'm sure that's what I said. I don't remember me specifically saying that, but
Page 23, if you want to refresh your memory.
yeah, if it's here, I'm sure I said it. I mean, if this is accurate, so.
All right. Did you also tell law enforcement during that interview that you were aware that Karen had a friend from Little Rock who was married and had kids?
What page is that on?
Page 24.
It's here, so I'm sure I said that.
All right. Let me just move through. All right. Regarding Tom, did you tell law enforcement in that interview that you heard about conversations with Tom and Karen up to the Halloween party that Saturday night that afterwards she went missing?
What page is that on?
Page 25.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure it's there at the bottom, yeah.
Does that refresh your memory?
I'm sorry, not really. I don't remember exactly, but it's here, so I'm sure it's accurate.
But did you tell law enforcement that during the interview?
Like I said, I'm sure I did. I don't remember specifically if I wasn't looking at this, but it's here and this is accurate, so I'm sure I did.
All right. Let me just back up a little bit. After your wife's 40th birthday party, and you put a towel over Karen, and Robin came in while you were in the room alone with Karen, did Robin Alford come back again to your house after that date?
No.
Okay. And were you aware that caused problems with the Swifts?
Yes. I mean, because evidently she stated that,
and Robin Alford also caused problems with you and your wife and Robin Alford?
No, well, I mean, I knew Robin. I wasn't really, friends with her any closer than anybody else. But yeah, once that was said and my wife found out that was said, then yes, that caused problems because that was something that was untrue.
And Miss Alford didn't come over again?
Not that I know of, no.
All right. And after that, sometime, you said that there was another occasion where Karen was at the house and other people, the Lees, were at the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this is sometime after the 40th birthday party?
Yeah, it would have been pretty soon after, yeah.
And people were in the hot tub again?
Yes, the people that were there.
All right. People were in various stages of being dressed or undressed?
Yes, I would imagine. I'm trying to remember exactly.
Some people were just naked?
I don't remember particularly anybody being that way, but I'm trying to remember, and it wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me if there was, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay. You're saying David Swift walked in to your house and went to looking for his wife?
Yes, he came in the back door off the patio, yes.
All right. He walked in.
Yes.
There wasn't a fight or a struggle.
No, there wasn't a knock. There wasn't anything. He opened my door at my house and walked in.
Did you hear him ask for Karen?
He asked did I know where she was? Yes.
All right. Was this late at night?
Yes. Well, I mean, late for us. It was probably 10 or 11 if I had to guess.
All right. And he went upstairs.
I told him that she was upstairs talking to Kathy, yes.
Yeah. You answered his question. And
Yes.
he went upstairs to find his wife.
Yes.
And as he went up the stairs, your wife Kathy was with Karen in the bed.
I wasn't there, but yes, she had gone to bed sometime before my wife had.
And that Karen was in the bed with your wife, not having all of her clothes on.
I wasn't up there. I didn't ever see that. So I don't know.
And you saw David Swift come back down.
Yes, I heard them have an argument and then, quickly, and then come back down the stairs and leave.
You heard him say, "Are you going to come home?"
I heard him yelling at her. I don't particularly, what are you doing and that type of thing. And
then he walked back down.
Yeah, he came back down the stairs and left.
He just walked out and left.
Yes.
You told the police that when they interviewed you that day that David had never threatened you.
No.
And that y'all had never had a fight.
We never did, no.
And you had never observed David Swift having a fight with anybody in your house.
No, the 2 times he was ever present there, no.
When Karen's iPhone, the phone that she normally used, did it ever go out of service because she didn't pay her bill?
I have no idea.
Did you previously give her that phone to use before?
Not before this one time, no.
And this was some months before she went missing?
I'm sure the bill would show it was after the contact with the attorney, so I would guess that it was sometime around the 1st of October. That's
And you and your wife helped Karen Swift to arrange to divorce her husband.
We loaned her that money.
And you furnished her a mechanism to leave town with her daughters that week, didn't you?
She went on vacation with us with her children.
And she brought the 2 children.
Yes.
And you were aware that David Swift didn't know where she went when she went with you or where his daughters went that day?
Yes.
Were you aware that Karen Swift was going to spend the night with you after the Halloween party?
Through my wife, I think that from what she told me, that was the plan, that, she was going to stay there and pick up Ashley in the morning.
And that plan changed when her daughter called her.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, David Swift didn't know about that because Karen Swift didn't tell you she was calling and going home before her daughter called.
No.
When the officers, they ask you a lot of questions and you said it made you feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
The officers asked you if you and your wife were swingers and had orgies at your house, didn't they?
Yes.
And you answered them, didn't you?
Yes.
In fact, didn't you answer them? Not that offends me. Didn't you tell the officers that? Like I said, it's not something that we ain't talked about as a couple before. So I'm not shy about discussing it, that kind of stuff. Isn't that how you responded to the officers?
If that's Heather was there. I remember at that point in the conversation, I didn't understand where the questioning was going, and I was agitated. I was trying to get out of, wanted to get out of that room at that point because I didn't understand what the line of questioning was.
Can I ask you to look at page 56 and refresh your memory?
Yes.
Didn't you respond that way to the officers when they asked you that question?
If this is accurate, I'm sure I did.
Now, let me ask you, Karen Swift left your house, you and Kathy were at your house when her daughter called.
Yes.
You were aware that she was taking her daughter and going home, and it was a change of plans
Yes.
because Karen planned on spending the night with y'all.
Yes.
And Karen went to the party, and I guess y'all did too, in costumes or outfits.
Yes.
It was a Halloween party.
Yes.
And Karen had an outfit that she wore.
I don't remember it being an outfit. I mean, if I remember right, it was a black dress or a black skirt, and she had just like a party mask, like a Mardi Gras mask. That was it.
And boots?
I'm not really sure what kind of shoes she had on. But
Okay. Well, then that's fair. And then she left,
yes.
and it was after midnight.
Yes.
And the next morning, you and you're present when David Swift calls your wife to ask if you both know where Karen is.
In the afternoon, yes, not in the morning.
Okay. And you're not exactly sure what time it is?
It was right there before 2 o'clock. I was leaving the house at 2 to go to where I needed to go, and it was a little bit before 2 is what I remember.
But y'all didn't call him first. He called you.
That's correct.
Out of concern looking for his wife.
He called us. That's correct.
And then based on that, and he also is the one that told you where he heard her car was located or knew where her car was located. He
Yes.
gave you that information.
Yes.
And then based on that is why you went to the car, you and your wife.
Yes.
And you live how far from the Swift home?
10 miles maybe.
Okay. And I guess before you got there, you don't know who had been at the car or who had not been at the car, right?
No.
Okay. And you pull up and you get out and the officer arrives.
No. The officer did not arrive while I was there.
Okay. And you don't know if they had been there before or before y'all arrived first.
I don't know who was there before we arrived, no.
And y'all stood around the car and talked to the officers.
Yeah, I wasn't there when the officers came.
Were you there when the officers came?
No, I'd left.
Okay. You and your wife had left?
No, I'd left.
Okay. Your wife stayed and you left?
Yes.
And did you go to, is it Trimble or Mason Hall? Looking for her?
It's one of those places. It may be in between. It's a little community right there. Trimble, Mason Hall right there in that area.
Okay. And then you were gone for a period of time and then you come back to where the car is?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously you don't know who had come and gone when you had left.
No.
Or before you and your wife got to the car originally.
No.
And you're saying at some point you looked at the tire and saw a nail sticking out
A screw.
several inches,
Yes.
and you talked to the officers, and then you saw David Swift also.
No.
You see him?
I did not. I was not present when David was there with the officer and my wife. No.
Okay. And when you come back to the car, law enforcement became more active.
Yeah, when I got back to the car, the sheriff's deputy was coming back out, from their residence, from what he told us.
Okay. And you don't know who the officer was.
It was the sheriff's deputy. I don't know him by name, no.
And you were aware he came from the Swift home.
Yes, that's what he said.
Okay. And did y'all stay there for a period of time and then eventually go home?
We left pretty well after that. He came back and he had come from there and we left.
The next day is when law enforcement spoke to you and your wife.
That wasn't the next day. If I remember correctly now, this happened a period of a week or two later when they called and asked us if we provide our DNA. And we said, sure, that's when this happened.
Now, she went missing October the 30th of 2011.
Yes.
That Sunday?
Yes, that's when the Sunday is when we went out and looked at her car, yes.
And can I ask you to look at the transcript about your interview?
What page you got?
Top, the cover.
Okay.
Is it dated that Monday, October the 31st?
It is. I don't remember it that way, but I thought we gave this interview when we came in and gave our DNA.
But you may have come back in and been re-interviewed and given DNA on that date.
I really remember that's when this long interview process came. We came in on the 31st and we talked in one of the rooms to one of the sheriffs, just cordially, the two of us. But I don't necessarily agree with this date in this instance because that interview did not happen that day. That interview happened the day that we gave DNA. I'm pretty sure.
Sir, is it possible with the passage of time you just may have gotten the date mixed up?
No, because I remember this interview. It was really uncomfortable for my wife and I both. I remember it extensively. And
was it uncomfortable for you because you thought you were being accused of things?
Yeah, we don't operate in this world. We've never been a part of anything like this, and it was very uncomfortable and unsettling. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Redirect?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bona, did you make Karen Swift get a divorce?
No.
Did you try to talk her into it?
No. When I first met her through my wife was actually trying to talk her out of it, and we got married to be married and stay married, so that's what we believe, and that's kind of that first interaction that we went there with them, that was kind of even purposeful, and she was trying, I know specifically, to tell her, hey, you can try to work this out. You got kids, you can married, and then over time we understood exactly how she felt, I guess, but it was actually the other way around to start, early on.
Okay. Did you make Karen Swift go on vacation with you?
No.
Was she an adult?
Yes.
Could she make her own decisions?
Yes.
You testified that Miss Swift was going to, the plan was, after the Halloween party, Miss Swift was going to spend the night at your house on the couch. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Swift knew that?
I do not.
Okay. So is it possible he did not even know that?
It's possible. I mean,
okay. And you stated in the cross that you lived 10 miles from where the car was, just approximately.
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Swift lived a quarter of a mile to a half mile from where the car was?
Yes.
Okay. But you still beat him to the car?
We got there and nobody was there, so I don't. Okay. I guess. I don't know who came before we got there.
So regardless of the fact Mr. Swift lives close, you got there before he did?
objection sustained. Let's go ahead.
Okay. You said, last thing that you said was that you were upset because you were being accused of things and you're not used to being in that situation. Is that right?
That's how we felt looking back on it and thinking, I don't think that was the intent, but
Okay.
it was,
Did you feel like you were being accused of kidnapping?
no,
Did you feel like you were being accused of murder?
no.
Was it more so just inappropriate behavior that you felt that they were accusing you of?
Yes, I mean, that seemed like the gist of what was going on, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sir, you can step down, sir. Is this witness excused?
Yes.
Free to go, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick morning break. And we've got it's going to be just a little bit longer because we've got a piece of business that we need to take care of while you're out there. So get a cup of coffee and use the restroom and relax, and we'll get you back in as quickly as we can. Okay? All right. All right, let's take about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll come back without the jury, and we'll deal with it.
We need Ms. Bona in here, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll need her here for that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be in recess. All right. General, who's your next witness?
Next witness will be Kathy Bona.
Now, is this one of the witnesses that falls under the prior order, the 8033 information?
Yes, sir, it is.
Do you all agree we're at the point, based on the prior, the state's prior motion, as well as the defendant's position in the matter, that the court needs to go ahead and hear the testimony, that part of the testimony, jury out, in order to make the analysis under 8033? Is that where we are?
We do, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Judge?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have your previous order.
Right.
We have what the state gave notice of, the questions and Your Honor's interpretation or the court's ruling. Are we limited ourselves to the things that you still say are in play? It
No.
seems like that's what we're doing.
Well, no, we're not. I mean, the court's prior order eliminated totally a few things.
Yes,
but remember, the state's motion did not say these are the only areas that are going to come up. The state gave examples of the kind of testimony that they expected to use, and so I think with this witness, let's develop the testimony, and then we can hash through the objection and determine what's going to go and what's not going to go.
Your Honor, I'm just asking about the method of doing this. Is the state's going to call this witness in and ask the proposed questions, and we'll hear the witness's response?
Yes.
And then
You may do like Mr. Petrie and say, is that a question, or you want me just to answer the... Yes, you're correct. That's what I'm anticipating we doing.
And we hear the statement.
Right.
And can I cross-examine, or?
Yes.
Okay. But we're limiting ourselves to just these things.
Yes.
Okay. And then afterwards, can I ask, is the witness going to be excused, and then we can talk about it?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, what's the purpose of cross-examination? The purpose of this hearing is to get the statement in, or for you to hear the statement and then make a determination if it's relevant or not. How does cross-examination play a part in that?
Cross-examination, in my view, may add to or take away the court's ability to, or it's going to possibly add to the court's ability to analyze the statement under the appropriate rules. And so this is not going to be wide open testimony nor wide open cross-examination. It's going to be limited, Mr. Taylor, to the factors that help the court determine whether or not the statement is admissible. Okay?
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
Conduct, whose conduct? Yes.
Relevance, timing, context, and whether or not it fits within or without 8033 exception. Those are the things that I'll need to hear in order to do that, and I'll cut you off if we get, I'll cut both of you off if we get far away from that. Okay? So, call your witness, sir.
Kathy Bona.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Ms. Bona.
Morning.
Would you spell your name Kathy? How do you spell that?
Cathy.
And Bona is... Ms. Bona, thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to have more questions later, but this is more focused on a certain area.
Okay.
Did you and Ms. Swift spend time talking on the phone and texting one another?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm going to hand you a copy of some messages and ask if you can identify these. And these are dated June 28th of 2011.
General, what date did you say?
June 28th, 2011. Okay, Ms. Bona, do you recognize those messages?
Yes.
And what are those?
These are text messages between myself and Karen.
Okay, and I see that one of the message bars is green, and the other, I guess, is a white or gray.
Yes.
Which is your conversation, and which is that of Ms. Swift?
My conversation is in the green, and hers is in the white or gray.
Okay, and at the top of the message, what does it say?
The date?
Looks like there's a name there.
Yes, it says the first message that Karen sent,
At the very top.
June 28, 2011.
No, above that.
Above that.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Maybe that one doesn't show.
That's the next one, yeah. There's the next
Is
one.
there anything that shows a name on the text
There
message?
is. The second sheet, it has Karen S. at the top,
Okay. And do you know why it says that?
because that's who I was talking to.
Okay. Did you save that in your phone, in your contacts?
Yes.
Okay. And is that the way that you sent, that you saved that message?
Yes, that's the way I had her in my contacts, so it would have been.
Okay. Okay. The first message there, June 28, 2011. Would you read what the part of the statement that was from Ms. Swift?
David is acting very strange, kind of scaring me. He says he took 2 Ambien, and then she put spelling as if she spelled Ambien correctly. And then it's signed Karen underneath it.
Okay, and then what was your response?
Question mark. Maybe he's making a last-ditch effort to gain sympathy and playing depression.
Okay, and her next comment?
You are right. When he had his affair, he put a gun to his head. Gonna make sure he's asleep before me, Karen.
Okay, and if you would go to the next page, would you read that?
Serious? He is messed up. That was me. She replied, yeah, and scaring me. I have my girls and locking my door. I can say before now I have never been scared of him. I'm going to let Dustin know. Signed, Karen. I replied, I'm scared for you. Text me in the morning, please. And she replied, I will. Don't want you to worry. I'm probably making more of it. Have fun. Signed, Karen.
Okay, and then the next page. And I think that's kind of a repeat
It
of
is.
some of that, but I think some of it cut off.
Yes, and then she, after her, said, probably making more of it, have fun. I replied, he's the all talk, no action kind of guy, right? Yeah, looking for pity, so, right.
Okay. Your Honor, do you want to address one at a time, or do you want to go through all of them?
Is that the whole?
That's the end of that
Let's go
conversation.
through all of it, and then we'll deal with it.
Okay.
Just a second. What?
You consider just taking it a section at a time, and I'll just limit my questions very briefly.
Okay, that's all right. Well, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. General, do you have an extra copy that I can have or borrow, or can we go make a copy real quick?
Can we make a copy, please? I don't think I have an extra.
I think we've got a machine right here.
Would you make 2? Because I don't want to have to pass the exhibit back.
2 copies, please.
Thank you, Judge.
Who would have thought of a copier in the courtroom?
It's impressive.
you hand those back to the witness? I understand. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me clarify a couple of things. On the photocopies, it looks like what is shown as green on the original ones is showing up as a dark shaded, and then the white or gray appear as a lighter background deal. So are we dealing only with these 3 pages at the time?
Yes.
At this time. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Taylor, and if you'll limit your cross-examination to this, then.
Ms. Bona, let me ask you some things. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes.
These messages are from June 28th of 2011.
Yes.
That's well before her divorce. Is that correct?
Yes.
Her divorce was in October.
Yes.
Well before she went missing also.
Yes.
October the 30th. Several months before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm not trying to be rude, but if you'll answer yes or no
Okay.
for the record, we just have to be sure.
Okay.
We're dealing with what Karen said to you, and that's the ones that are not dark colored, right?
Yes.
And the first message at 9:45 p.m. on June 28th talks about David acting very strange.
Yes.
She's referring to David Swift, she's not referring to herself, is she?
No.
Okay. She's talking about David's conduct, isn't she?
Yes.
And she's referring specifically all to David's conduct in that first message, isn't she?
Yes.
Not her own.
No.
And then you respond to her,
Yes.
and that's in the dark.
Yes.
And you respond, gain sympathy, playing for depression. You respond that.
Yes.
You don't say anything about fear or threats. You say sympathy or playing depression. That's how you respond.
Yes.
Is that a fair characterization of what you said?
Yes.
And then she responds talking about his conduct, that he had his affair, put a gun to his head. That's how she responds to you.
Yes, his conduct.
His conduct, not hers.
Yes.
And she makes a vague reference to gonna make sure he's asleep before me. She says that. And that's all she responds on that one message.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. She doesn't put any other explanation or context on it.
No.
All right. Now, and you respond serious, he's messed up.
Yes.
And she responds, yeah, scaring me. She's talking about herself, I guess herself at this point.
Yes.
That's the first time she talks about how she felt in that message.
Yes.
All right. And then she talks about others, like her and the girls. Is that right? It talks about the girls. It talks about others' conduct, not David's.
Talks about her conduct, yes.
Yeah, her and the girls, which is somebody, the girls.
Yes. Doesn't talk about their conduct. She said, I have my girls, and locking the door.
Okay. And she doesn't really explain more than locking the doors. She doesn't give an explanation of the outside door or the inside door, does she? She just, that's as much as she refers to it.
Right.
And the girls refers to other conduct other than herself.
Other people. She
Yes,
didn't
other than
specifically said
herself.
their conduct, but their people.
Other than herself.
Yes.
And then she says, I can say before I've never been scared of them, scared of harm, I guess that's what that is. That's how she, and she's going to let somebody else know.
Yes.
She's talking about others other than herself.
Yes.
And she doesn't really say anything other than going to let Dustin know. She doesn't explain what she's going to let him know or anything. That's all she says.
Right.
She doesn't explain what she's going to let him know or why she's going to let him know. She just says, going to let Dustin know.
Yes, he's scaring me. I'm going to lock my doors. I've never been scared of him before now, but I'm going to let Dustin know.
But she doesn't explain why she's going to let him know herself, does she?
She just says she's going to let him know, referring to what she wrote in the text, that she was scared of him.
But she doesn't explain it any more than that.
No.
Okay. Now, and you respond about yourself and how you feel about it.
Yes.
Okay. And she responds to what you say, and I'm scared for you. That's what you say. And she responds assuring you, don't want you to worry. I'm probably making more of it. Have fun. That's how she responds.
Yes.
So she says something that don't worry, I'm probably making more of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then you respond, he's all talk, no action, right?
Yes. I ask him that. Ask her that.
And so you're saying, you're in a way asking her, hey, he's all talk, he's not really going to do anything. Isn't that what you're kind of saying to her?
It is.
And she responds, yeah. Looking for pity, so right. She really agrees with you, don't she?
Well, she wants to make me comfortable, so yes.
But she didn't say that. She said,
No.
yeah. You say, oh, no talk, no action kind of guy, right? And she totally agrees with you in that next message. Is that right?
It appears that way, yes.
And then y'all move on to another subject.
Yes.
Okay. This is the end of the first exchange, I guess, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Any redirect, General? Can we mark the 3 pages for identification just so the court can refer to those matters? It's going to be 15 for identification only. Yeah, she'll mark those. You can hand them back to her if you want to. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, it's the state's motion about these matters. Tell me, General, what is the purpose? For what purpose are these statements offered at this time?
Yes, we ask the witness to step out when we go through this.
Beg your pardon?
We need to ask the witness to step out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Bona. I need you to wait outside the courtroom in the hallway, ma'am.
Okay.
We'll get you right.
Through these messages one at a time then.
We're going to deal with this first set of 3 pages.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's laborious, but I don't know of a better way to deal with it right now.
Yes, no, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure that that's the proper way we were going to do that. Yes, so that's
Okay.
fine.
Now, my question to you is, for what purpose are these statements offered?
Your Honor, as I told you in my motion, these are offered to show the state of mind of the victim in the case. And I understand that this was June 28th. It was a few months before the divorce. However, you're going to see that this is a constant state of mind for over the next several months, that this was not a one-time event, that she was just afraid that night. You're going to hear that she told not only Ms. Bona, but other witnesses also that she was afraid of the defendant. Your Honor, so it goes specifically to her state of mind, which is admissible according to case law that I've already presented to the court. Your Honor, in addition to that, the defense has already raised the issue in the opening to the jury, and they've already heard that the fact that Ms. Swift was not scared of the defendant. She was never afraid of him. Your Honor, so the state should be allowed to put on proof that that in fact is not true, and that that statement is not true. Your Honor, and as far as the statements, if I could just go through each page. And
Sure.
I agree. Her statement that David is acting very strange is conduct of another. However, it goes to the very next phrase that she says, kind of scaring me. You know, so it explains why she's afraid. It's not just talking about his conduct and what he's doing or where he's going. Your Honor, if the jury just hears kind of scaring me, they're not going to know what that context is. As far as her saying he took 2 Ambien, yes, that is conduct of another. We agree with that. The last statement she makes on that page, you're right. When he had his affair, he put a gun to his head. Yes, I agree that that is conduct of another. It's about a different time frame. The state agrees that is not proper. You know, so
That entire message right there.
well, no, sir. I'm going to say that part of the message is not, but the next part, going to make sure he's asleep before me.
Okay.
You know, that goes on to talk about the fear that she just explained, and she's afraid she's going to make sure that he's asleep before her. Your Honor, so we think that part of the message is proper. The next message on the second page, she just says, serious, he's messed up, Your Honor. Not sure how you want to deal with what Ms. Bona said, but the next part of the message, yeah, and scaring me, that obviously talks about her fear and her state of mind. And also the very next thing, I have my girls. She didn't say what her girls was doing. She didn't say my girls are in the room playing. She said, I have my girls and locking my door. I can say before now, I have never been scared of him. Gonna let Dustin know. You know, that entire text conversation, that entire box, talks about her fear. And as far as saying gonna let Dustin know, it's obvious that she's afraid to the point she's going to tell her son, I'm afraid of your father. Something's going on. Your Honor, and as far as the remainder of the message, then that part is, we agree, is not relevant. Not
Which
important.
one's that?
At the bottom of the message where it says, I don't want you to worry. I'm probably making more of it. Have fun. The defense may want that.
Go back to that other box there
Okay.
that begins, yeah, and scaring me.
Yes, sir.
I have my girls and locking my door. I can say before now, we didn't talk about this sentence, I have never been scared of him. But you submit that that's appropriate under the 8033.
Yes, sir, because it also shows that this is a new development. There's been a change in the relationship. In the past, she's never been afraid, but at this point, the relationship is not the same. Things are starting to change between both of them. She wants the divorce. She can't afford it. And it goes on to talk about that, no, in the past, everything has been fine, but now, all of a sudden, things are different.
Now, what about that last sentence, gonna let Dustin know? The court has zero context for that.
Well, Your Honor, I believe you do. It's a part of the same conversation.
I understand, but nobody knows. I don't know who Dustin is and why Dustin needs to know something and how that even relates, which message this relates to.
Well, I can clarify that with Ms. Bona, that's Mr. Swift and Ms. Swift's son.
That's the son?
Yes.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And then on the last page, Your Honor,
Okay.
I don't think that anything there
Okay.
is anything we're concerned with.
All right. Very good. All right, Mr. Taylor, let's think about those.
Judge, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I have nothing to exhibit.
Judge, can I respond this way? She goes missing October 30th of 2011.
I'm sorry.
She goes missing October the 30th of 2011. She files for divorce on October the 10th, 2011. These messages are from several months before that, June 20.
October what, the date of the divorce filing?
October the 10th, 2011.
Gotcha.
Now, let me dispatch something while I'm thinking about it. The prosecutor said that I made a comment in opening statements that opens the door. Remember the statements of counsel issue we talked about before? What I say in opening is not evidence, but let me say this. It is a fact in this case that when Karen Swift filed for divorce, October the 10th, 2011, several months after these messages, that she went back after her trip to Alabama and lived in the house with David Swift. She's going back and living in the same house with him after she's filed for divorce. That is a fact. That is a fact that will come up from the case. That indicates that she's filed for divorce. She's gone for a week. I submit it kind of shows that she wants a cooling off, not uncomfortable phase, a vacation, and then she comes back just a few days or a week after October the 10th with the girls and lives in the house with him. And there's nothing that I've opened the door. That's just a fact. And her action by going back to the house after filing for divorce indicates that she's not in fear or that has no hesitation about going back to the house. These messages from June the 28th, several months, July, August, September, October, 4 months before, are remote from this. We don't even have the context of what started this whole conversation. Acting strange is vague. Does that mean, it doesn't say violent. Acting strange, it's not defined. There's nothing more specific. These messages are very remote to the relevant time frame of this.
Plans to divorce Mr. Swift.
Her plans, yes.
Okay. And had that gone on for a short period of time, a long period of time? How long had she discussed that?
I think when I first met her, she did not care for her husband at all and how he treated her. It was kind of an...
Objection's overruled. Go ahead.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Because when I met her at the Y, she was very open about how she did not like him and how he treated her. And so that was kind of an ongoing thing from the minute I met her. And I think it got worse, and she wanted to pursue more action as things got worse, as he started accusing her of more things. And so then it was kind of like, well, I don't have the money to do anything. And so she finally started taking action when she started getting the confidence to say, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. And the controlling and the belittling and accusations, she was ready to be done with the marriage because she needed to get out.
Okay. And how long did she talk about those issues with you? Was it just over a few weeks before she filed for divorce, or how long had she felt that way?
Oh, a long time. She was a little more reserved at first because I didn't want to come on so strong, like, my marriage is a hot mess. But, I mean, we became friends.
Just a minute, ma'am. Mr. Goodman, I'm not sure Ms. Bona understands the context and the degree, you know, that she's beginning to convey things that the court has excluded. And I know they're not specific. We're not into specific statements, but the court is beginning to be concerned that the witness doesn't understand. I know you have not been able to convey that to her.
Yes, sir, I have not.
Either that the court has seriously limited her relation of things within the time frame there. And I don't know if you need to tell her that.
Yes, sir, I would like to.
I would request that she be instructed about what's limited.
Right.
It's okay if I?
Yes, sir. It's fine.
Ms. Bona,
with
I'm
me.
not going to ask you any questions about any of the times that Ms. Swift told you she was in fear of Mr. Swift.
Okay.
I know that you kept a journal of
Yes.
things. I'm not going to ask you about anything in the journals.
Okay.
So if you would just not make any statements about anything Karen told you about being in fear or anything like that.
Okay.
Alleged acts of violence, things of that nature.
I don't plan to ask about any of that.
Okay. All right. We're good. We're clear. You think we're clearer now than we were? Okay.
I will try my best.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I'll do my best
I know
to keep it focused.
I know that you will. Okay. You tell them we're ready to go. They may be brewing iced tea back there. I don't know. General, you can go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Bona?
Yes.
Do you recall a time that you loaned a phone to Ms. Swift?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember what type phone it was?
It's like one of those older flip Voyager type phones.
Okay. Whose phone was that?
That was my son's, Billy Bona's.
Okay. And how old was your son at the time that he would have had that phone?
11 or 12.
Okay. And is there any reason that Mr. Swift would have to call your son?
No reason at all.
Was your son doing any kind of chores for him, or do you have any kind of relationship where he would need to call him?
No.
Do you know if Mr. Swift knew that Ms. Swift had that second phone?
Yes, he knew.
And how did he know?
Okay, well, Karen told me and he called it.
Okay. Okay, let me move on from that. Do you remember a time, it was August 4th of 2011, when you and Ms. Swift went to Walmart and you picked her up at the parking lot?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that incident and what took place?
We had come back into the parking lot, and I was taking her to her car, and David was there by her car.
Okay. And where had you been?
It was one of the days we either went running or went shopping in Jackson somewhere. We typically went to do day trips and stuff. It was during the day at some point.
Okay. And so you arrived back at the vehicle at the parking lot?
Yes.
What happened?
He was there, and...
So, talking about Mr. Swift?
Yes, Mr. Swift was there, and he was very enraged.
Okay. What happened?
He yelled at her in the parking lot and, like, slammed his hand against the car window and was accusing her of things. That she was sneaking around and doing all kinds of things. You're sneaking around, you're lying, you're doing this, and was very angry that he had, found her car in Walmart, and then she had gotten back to it and didn't know where she was.
Okay. Did he say anything to you?
He was mainly yelling at her, and she was trying to de-escalate the situation because, again, she didn't like me to be uncomfortable. So she was like, just go on, it's fine, So he didn't really say anything to me. He was just yelling at her.
Okay. How did you feel after that incident?
That, again, creeped me out because I knew that he knew where her car was. So he had been watching her or stalking her.
Okay. Did you ever host parties in which David and Karen would attend?
We had one party.
And was that for your birthday?
Yes, that was my 40th birthday party.
Okay. What happened at that party?
We had a party at the country club, the Farms Country Club, had some music and dancing. We all kind of gathered there and celebrated. She helped host it for me and got a bunch of pictures together and helped us celebrate. So we kind of invited all the friends, and their husbands were also came for us to just kind of celebrate.
Okay. And did you continue the party after you left the farms?
Yes, we had some of the people from the party came over to our house and just to kind of keep hanging out.
Okay. And did some of you eventually get in the hot tub?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get in the hot tub that evening?
I think so.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Swift was in the hot tub?
I don't remember if he was or not.
Do you know if Mrs. Swift was?
Miss
Karen Swift?
Karen was, yes, she was.
Okay. How were people dressed?
Some people had swimsuits, a couple people did not.
When you say they did not, did they have anything on?
No.
They were nude?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What about Miss Swift? Do you remember if she was?
She did not have a bathing suit, correct.
Okay. Was there anything else that happened later in the night?
She had gotten out of the hot tub, and she was probably a little dizzy from being in the hot tub, and had gone into the front room of our house, which is a living room connected, all our rooms are connected, and had laid down on the couch in there.
Okay. Was this an area that was open that anyone could walk into?
Yes, it was. It's connected to the other dining room and the kitchen in the house.
It wasn't behind a locked door or anything?
No, that's the room with the giant window in the front of it as well, and the front door. So it was just lights on, big couch, and a family room.
Okay. Did she lay on that couch? Did she go to sleep?
I don't think it's leading up.
Did she go to sleep?
She was resting.
She wasn't in the room. She said she went to another room. She didn't have personal knowledge, I guess.
The objection is sustained. You'll need to establish a basis for her knowledge.
Miss Bona, did you go inside the house?
Yes,
Did you see Miss Swift laying on the couch?
I did at some point, yes.
Okay. Did anyone else come in?
Yes.
Who else came in the house?
Several people came in that were in the house, in other rooms of the house.
Did any others come in while Karen was laying on the couch?
Yes, Bill came in when she was laying there, my husband, Bill.
Were you inside the house at that time?
I was.
Okay, and what happened when he came in?
He saw her.
Because she was not in the room when Bill came in.
You know, she just testified that the room was wide open and you could see every room from the living room.
I think the inquiry can be satisfied if she establishes that she actually observed what you're asking her about. If she did, great, go on. If she didn't, then we got to move to another topic.
Okay, ma'am. Were you in this area where the couch was?
I was in the house. I did see him go in that room. So, like I said, there were people walking around.
Okay. Did anyone else come in?
Yes, Robin came into that room
Okay.
with him.
Okay. Did anything happen afterwards?
No, I mean,
Your Honor, in the same objection, if she's not in the room when Robin walks in.
I'm not asking about Robin. I'm asking about the incident after that.
Okay, one at a time. I understand, but I believe the question was, did anything happen afterwards? So the objection be overruled. Go ahead.
okay. I did not witness exactly what took place in those couple minutes in that room, but I did come in there at a later time and she had the towel wrapped around her and she was feeling lightheaded and I think Bill had gotten David to come get her to take her home.
Okay. Were there any issues when David came into the house to get her?
No.
Okay. So Mr. Swift did not have a problem with the fact that she was in a towel and had been in the hot tub nude?
Oh, he was just like, let me get her home. I was just, at the situation like, oops, let's take her home because, something she was.
Do you know if Mr. Swift knew that she was nude in the hot tub?
I mean, sure.
He's calling for speculation.
I'm asking if,
She hadn't talked to him about it, and I object to it. I asked him to be disregarded.
I'm asking if she was there present and knew, if Mr. Swift knew that she was in the hot tub.
Either before or after his day.
Okay, kind of a moving target. Let me see if I can hit the target here. The objection is whether or not you asked this witness whether or not Mr. Swift knew that his wife had been in the hot tub nude. If you can lay a foundation for that, then I'll permit her to answer. But I hadn't heard a foundation yet.
Where was Mr. Swift at the party?
He was around everybody else, including his wife.
Was he near the hot tub?
Yes. At
Was
some
he-
point, he was near the hot tub, inside, outside.
Was he near the hot tub when Miss Swift was in the hot tub?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Was there any doubt that she was nude in the hot tub? Did you see her?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone else who was out there see her?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's just vague and speculation. I believe so. I object to it, and I ask it to be disregarded.
The objection's overruled. Go ahead.
Did Mr. Swift attend any other parties at your house after that?
No. Wasn't invited to any parties after that.
Okay. Was there another time that Karen was at your house and that Mr. Swift showed up?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that incident.
Okay. So we had gone out to dinner with some friends, and again, we came back home, and a couple people gotten in the hot tub. We were hanging out outside. I got tired and came inside. Bill was also inside. He was sitting in the recliner. I got tired and came inside and said, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. So I proceeded to go into the bedroom, put on my pajamas, and get under the covers and go to sleep.
Okay. What happened after that?
I heard some commotion downstairs, and evidently David had come through the back door.
I object because she wasn't downstairs, so she's speculating she wasn't downstairs.
Let's limit her testimony to what she observed then as opposed to what she assumes would have happened.
Did Miss Swift come upstairs when you were upstairs?
Yes, she did.
What did she do?
She was, again, feeling a little lightheaded, had a towel wrapped around her, and laid down on the other side of the bed in a towel wrapped around her on top of the covers.
Okay. You were under the covers?
I was.
And was she under the covers with you?
She was not.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm not going to ask you about what door Mr. Swift may have came in. Did Mr. Swift show up at your house?
Yes.
What was his demeanor when he showed up?
Well, when he came into the room that we were both in, he was again enraged.
Okay. And what did he do?
He accused her of lots of things, sleeping with me, being a whore, being drunk, lots of things, was very angry.
Okay. And did he do anything physically while he was there?
Not that I saw. The room was a little dark, so.
Okay. And did he just leave, or what happened?
Yeah, he left angry, and she was trying to deny that anything was going on. I'm just laying here, and then he left again angry quickly.
Okay. Did Karen stay there at your house? Did she go home?
She ended up leaving, yes.
Okay. All right. And did you have a conversation with Mr. Swift after that, in the days after that, about that incident?
I really did not want to speak with him after that because of we tried to cut ties, considering the demeanor when he came in and was so angry. He did reach out once about the first incident and said this is what somebody said happened, and I said that's not what happened. It's not. It was just obvious that he was accusing her of things, and it was time to kind of cut ties.
Okay. Did you know that Miss Swift was ready to file for divorce?
Yes.
Did she have the money to do that?
She did not.
Okay. Did she, tell me why. Tell me why she didn't have the money to file for divorce.
Because she didn't have a job, and David made all the money, so she was financially tied to him.
Okay. Do you know why she didn't work?
He didn't want her to work.
Okay. Was she totally dependent upon
Yes.
Mr. Swift financially?
Yes, she was.
Did you loan Miss Swift some money?
We did. Bill and I
Yeah.
both did.
Okay. And how much was it?
$2,000
What was the purpose of that loan?
for her to get an attorney to pursue a divorce.
Okay. And did she ever start to repay that loan?
She did.
Okay. Now, prior to Mr. Swift being served with the divorce, did Karen Swift go on a vacation with you and your husband?
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Well, we had a fall break vacation set up to go to Orange Beach, I believe it was. And we were going, and another couple was going, and they ended up backing out kind of last minute. And we said, hey, you can come with us, because she was planning to serve papers.
Okay.
And she thought that would be a great time to do it and leave, because she didn't know how he was going to react.
Okay.
So she came there with the girls. Her and Ashley and Keeley both came with.
Okay. Did she tell Mr. Swift that she was going on that trip?
Your Honor, unless she has
Personal knowledge of what was told.
I'm not sure if she told him ahead of time.
Okay. Do you know if she talked to him after she got there?
I can't remember specifically.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to show you a photo. Do you recognize that photo?
I do.
When was that photo taken?
That was taken on that beach trip.
Okay. And who is that in the photo?
That's Karen and Keeley and Ashley.
Would you make that an exhibit to your testimony, please?
Any objection, Mr. Taylor? No, Your Honor. That'd be marked and admitted as number 16 then. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Me and Mr. Goodman just approached very briefly.
I still didn't get it. What do you need? You don't have a microphone. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Your Honor,
Except when you object. I don't have any problem hearing you then.
I'm trying to be loud.
Okay.
Judge, I'm
You need to approach?
yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Let's have a bench.
A community bonfire on Friday, October 28th of 2011.
Yes.
And I don't guess it was actually a community bonfire. Was it a bonfire at Karen Swift's home?
Yes, it was a bonfire at the Swift home.
Okay. And were there multiple people there?
There were, and children and parents, yes.
Okay. Was Mr. Swift there?
He was.
Are you aware of the fact that Mr. Swift claimed to have re-injured his leg prior to that bonfire?
I am.
And did you observe Mr. Swift doing anything that would make you second guess that knee injury?
I did. He
What was that?
was driving the four-wheeler around with the children and hopping on and off the four-wheeler all night, driving them around the land.
Was he using crutches to do that?
I don't remember seeing crutches.
Okay. Did he appear to be having any problems getting on and off the four-wheeler?
He did not.
Did he seem to have any problems doing anything with the children that night?
No.
On the night of October 29, 2011, did you attend a Halloween party?
Yes, we did.
Who went to that party with you?
It was Bill and I and Karen.
Did Mr. Swift go?
He did not.
Okay. Did Miss Swift come to your house prior to going to the Halloween party?
She did, to help us get ready, to help me get ready.
Okay. Do you recall if you or she drank any alcohol before you went to the Halloween
Yeah,
party?
we had a beer, I think.
Okay. And what time did you arrive at the party?
At the Halloween party,
Yes, ma'am.
sometime after 8 or 9 o'clock.
Okay. And while at the party, were you around Miss Swift most of the night?
Some of the night, yes.
Okay. Did you ever see Miss Swift dancing with anyone at the party?
I noticed her dancing with everybody as a group.
Okay. Did you see her dancing with anyone individually?
Not that I could, no. Not that I can remember, just somebody specifically dancing. Like I said, we were dancing in groups of people.
Okay. Did you see her have a disagreement with anyone?
I did not.
Okay. If she had, do you think she would have told you that?
Probably, yes.
Did you see Miss Swift drink any alcohol while she was at the party?
I think she had one drink in her hand at one time, I saw.
Okay. After the party was over, or maybe it wasn't over yet, what time did you leave?
I think we left the party after midnight. Some point
Okay.
after midnight.
Okay. And where did you go?
We
after you
went
left the
to
party?
McDonald's because she wanted some French fries.
Okay. Did you get your French fries?
She got her French fries.
Okay. All right. That's important. After that, what did you do?
We went back to our house and we went into downstairs in the living room, and she was on the couch and we just kind of hung out and talked for a little bit.
Okay. Was she planning to spend the night?
She was planning on spending the night in our couch that night, yes.
Okay. Do you know if she had told Mr. Swift that?
I don't.
She's going to answer the question, Mr. Taylor, whether she knows or not.
That was my
Go ahead.
question. Does she have personal knowledge?
That he.
Do you
I'm
have-
sorry, repeat the question.
Do you know whether Mr. Swift knew that she was going to spend the night there?
I don't know. That night, like as a last-ditch effort to kind of make.
Mr. Swift had asked
Yes, Karen to go to dinner.
with
yes,
him
that night that we were going to the Halloween party.
Okay.
And she had told him, no, we're done. There's no putting this back together. And she had planned on picking up Ashley from a friend's house that next morning. So she was planning on staying because she felt very uneasy about the whole the last dinner, and she wanted to stay and felt safe staying at our house and then proceed to go.
Just a minute, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor, if she doesn't have any personal knowledge, I object for the reasons we stated earlier.
Your Honor, maybe we approach.
Yeah.
The next morning after the party.
She planned to pick up Ashley from a friend's house that next morning.
Okay. Did Miss Swift spend the night with you?
She did not.
Okay. Why not?
Because Ashley had called from the party and had a disagreement or something happened at the party, and she wanted to leave.
Okay. So did Karen leave to go get her?
She did. She left to go pick up Ashley from the party.
You know about what time that was?
Had to be after 1-ish.
Okay. All right. Did you hear from Miss Swift again after she left?
I did not.
Okay. Let's move on to the next morning. That would have been Sunday morning. What did you do?
Got up and sent several texts to her.
Did you get a reply?
I did not.
Okay. What else?
We went to church, and I think we got some lunch. But we came back to the house and got a phone call.
Okay. From who?
From David.
Okay. And what was that phone call about?
Have you seen Karen? I haven't seen her, and her car is on the side of the road with a flat tire.
And what did you say?
I said, you haven't seen her? You don't know where she is? It was just a shock of, how do you not know where she is? And have you called the police?
Okay. Had he?
He had not.
Was it unusual for Miss Swift to not know where Miss Swift was?
No, he knew where she was all the time. This is very unusual for him to not know where she was.
Okay. Did you go to the area where the car was parked?
We did.
Who went?
Bill and I went at first.
Did you ride together or separately?
I think we rode separate.
Okay. How far was the car from Karen and David's house?
Not far at all. Maybe a quarter mile or less.
Okay.
Around the corner.
Was it close enough that Karen could have walked home?
Easily. Probably in 3 minutes, as good a shape as she was in.
Did you notice anything about the car?
It had a flat tire.
Okay. When you arrived at the car, was anyone there?
Not when we first arrived.
Mr. Swift was not there?
No.
Okay. Did anyone else arrive after you were there?
Mr. Rollins came in after us
Okay.
and was there with us for a little bit.
Okay. Had Mr. Swift shown up yet?
Not
still?
yet.
Okay. Anyone else show up?
After that, another sheriff came.
Okay. Do you know who that was?
No.
Okay. What happened when the deputy got there?
Bill had left to go to Mason Hall to see if she was at the house that she had been cleaning to make money for.
Okay.
And so the sheriff, he came in, and I'm not sure if David showed up with him or he went back to get him, but, you know, we were there and the car was locked, so he was trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay. So did the deputy arrive before Mr. Swift?
I can't remember exactly the timeline of who came in there first.
Okay.
But he was, the car was locked. So we got there, and I don't think I was ever alone with David being there, so the sheriff would have been there.
Okay. The car was locked?
It was locked.
Okay. Was he able to get in the car?
No, the sheriff was not.
Okay. Did he eventually?
Yes,
How did he eventually get into the car?
because David brought a set of keys.
Okay. And unlock the door?
Yes.
Did you see Deputy Alexander or the deputy that was there get inside the car?
Yeah, I remember opening the back door, looking around.
Did you see if he opened the driver's side door?
I don't remember specifically if he opened that door.
Okay. After Miss Swift was missing, did you do anything to try to help locate her?
Yes.
What did you do?
We got together with some friends from the Y. I think we drove out by the Mississippi River because there was a record of her phone pinging there. So we kind of went out to just do whatever we could. We felt helpless because I knew something had happened and we just needed to do something. Then we drove around kind of out where she lives and just kind of out and around.
Okay. Did you ever know Mr. Swift to do anything to try to locate Karen?
No.
She wasn't with Mr. Smith. She doesn't have any knowledge of it.
I think the answer was she didn't have any knowledge about it.
He never came with us to any of the events that we went looking for her.
Okay. Did you talk to Mr. Swift any after Karen went missing?
God, no, I tried to avoid him.
Okay. Did you go to the sheriff's department after that?
We did.
And did you voluntarily go?
Yes.
Were you asked anything about DNA samples or anything like that?
Yes.
Did you give those?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
After she went missing, it had to be in the week or two right after she was missing. It wasn't immediately, but it was within
Okay.
a week and a half.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bona. Your Honor, I'm going to pass the witness.
I made and take our lunch across. Post anything on social media. You may not read or listen to any social media or any streaming of the trial during that time. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll be in recess.
I'll never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words you can...
It's adjourned. All right, let's be seated. All right, how was lunch? Okay, everybody feeling good this afternoon? Let me look at everybody. Okay. If anybody nods off, I'm probably going to drop a book or something to kind of get you going again. Okay, Ms. Bona, ma'am, you're still under oath.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Taylor, you ready?
I am, thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Ms. Bona, let me ask you a few questions.
Okay.
The police interviewed you shortly after Karen went missing.
Yes.
You were interviewed on November the 2nd of 2011.
I'm not sure if that was the date. It seems like later than that, but
Can I pass something to the witness? Ms. Bona, let me pass you that and ask you to look at it and just sort of, you don't have to read it all,
Okay.
but refresh your memory.
okay.
All right. Did the police, does that refresh your memory about the date?
Yes, I know we came in there at one time shortly, and then came there after for more intensive interviews.
But when you were interviewed on November the 2nd of 2011, the police started the interview by informing you of your Miranda rights, didn't they?
Well, I don't remember being read or Miranda rights, and we weren't under arrest, so.
Now, can I ask you to look at page 3 of the transcript to refresh your memory? Jurors, can you hear me? If not, let me know, please.
Okay, that's what it says.
So were you refreshed? Were you read your Miranda rights and told about your right to have an attorney?
Yes, it appears I was.
And also that any statement you made could it possibly incriminate you?
Yes.
And you agreed to talk to them.
Yes, we did.
And they started the interview by asking you general questions about your relationship with Karen Swift.
Yes.
And you told them at that time that you and Karen had been friends for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Is that correct? Do you need to look at
Yes,
the
I do.
statement?
I do need to look.
Page 5. I know it's been a number of years.
Mm-hmm. You said 5. Okay.
Is that correct that you had been friends for almost 3 years at that time? According to what you told the police?
According to what I told them, yes.
Okay. Now, you met her because you met her at the YMCA, is that correct?
I did.
And were you employed by the YMCA?
I was.
How were you employed, Ms. Bona?
I was a aerobics instructor.
Was that a full-time job? Or?
No.
And you met Karen Swift because she was in one of your classes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And Karen Swift became very active at the YMCA. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yes.
And it was important to her to work out and be physically fit?
Yes.
And she was a very strong and fit lady?
Yes.
And she worked out. Sometimes she would go early in the morning and work out at the gym?
She was there when I was there, and I was there at 8. I didn't get there earlier than 8.
And she would go several days a week?
Yes.
Probably about 4 or 5 days a week?
I think so.
And she lifted weights and worked out on machines?
She took spin classes and took some of my classes. I didn't always observe what she always did in the weight room. Yes,
She would come over and stay for a number of hours occasionally.
occasionally.
And while she was there, she would socialize with you and your husband and other friends that were
Occasionally,
at your house.
yes,
And sometimes it would involve drinking,
yes.
and sometimes it would involve hot tub activities.
2 times.
Okay. And you did have a hot tub, you said, and y'all actively used it.
Yes, we did. My husband and I used it a lot. Mhm.
Okay. Karen, you said, would sometimes come over after she got her daughters to sleep.
Like I said before, I wasn't always aware if she had put them to sleep or had left like at 8 or 7 and David had put them to sleep. But I just know she would come over and we would hang out and she would go back home.
Right. So she would leave her daughters and David, or they would be asleep and she'd come over and socialize with you and your husband.
Well, it was 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So yes,
And she would stay for a few hours.
yes, a couple hours.
Sometimes she would stay later.
Not a lot. No.
And
All right.
it might flow more naturally that way.
I gotcha.
The last time you saw her was Sunday morning, on early Sunday morning after midnight on October the 30th of 2011.
Yes.
It was after the Halloween party.
Yes.
She dressed for the party.
Yes.
She had on black short sleeve shirt, mini skirt, black boots, and black tights with a spider mask.
I think so, yes. She was dressed like a cat.
Y'all drove over together from your house,
Yes.
you, Bill, and Karen.
Yes.
You stayed until 12:15 or roughly 12:20. Is that what you told law enforcement when they
Around
interviewed
that time, yes.
you? You had something to drink.
Yes.
You were drinking wine.
Okay.
I'm asking if you need to refresh your memory.
Yeah,
on
I do.
page
I'm not
13.
sure what I was drinking.
Page 13.
13? Okay, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that what you told the
That
police?
is what I told them, yes.
Okay. And you said Karen was drinking margaritas,
Okay. What page is that?
page 14.
Okay. Yes, I think she was drinking margaritas is what I said.
Okay. And while you were there, You were there at the party for 4 to 4.5 hours,
Yes, roughly, I believe.
and you told the police ask you all these questions. They asked you a lot of questions, didn't they?
They did.
And you told them you had had approximately 3 glasses of wine. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that your husband was drinking Wild Turkey and Diet Coke.
Yes.
And you told them when they asked you that you and Karen were not together the whole time of the party. You didn't watch her every minute of the party.
Correct.
And you left the party and went to McDonald's and then went to your house.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You and your husband and Karen left the party.
Yes.
Went to McDonald's.
Yes.
And then went to your house.
Yes.
Where she planned on spending the night.
Yes.
You said that she planned on picking up her daughter in the morning.
Yes.
And you mentioned that she had work to do at the Habitat House in Trimble or wherever it is.
Yes.
Okay. She left when she got a phone call from her daughter, Ashley.
Yes.
Ashley wanted her to come.
Yes.
And you watched her walk out, and you and your husband asked her, in light of what she had to drink, if she was okay to drive.
Yes.
And you didn't talk to her or hear from her anymore that night.
Correct. Yes.
And then the next afternoon, you texted, didn't you tell the police that you texted her around 3:50? To say, text her number to say that the police were looking for you?
Well, what page would that be?
Page 18. Well, you texted her before that, but you texted
Yes,
her
texted
later
her
on,
before that. Yes.
about 11:52. And then you texted her later on about the police looking for her. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'll never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know.
After midnight on October the 30th of 2011.
Yes.
It was after the Halloween party.
Yes.
She dressed for the party.
Yes.
She had on black short sleeve shirt, mini skirt, black boots, and black tights with a spider mask.
I think so, yes. She was dressed like a cat.
Y'all drove over together from your house.
Yes.
You, Bill, and Karen.
Yes.
You stayed until 12:15 or roughly 12:20. Is that what you told law enforcement when they
Around
interviewed
that time, yes.
you? You had something to drink.
Yes.
You were drinking wine.
Okay.
I'm asking if you need to refresh your memory.
Yeah,
on
I
page
do.
13.
I'm not sure what I was drinking.
Page 13.
13? Okay, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that what you told the
That
police?
is what I told them, yes.
Okay. And you said Karen was drinking margaritas.
Okay. What page is that?
Page 14.
Okay. Yes, I think she was drinking margaritas is what I said.
Okay. And while you were there at the party for 4 to 4.5 hours.
Yes, roughly, I believe.
And you told the police asked you all these questions. They asked you a lot of questions, didn't they?
They did.
And you told them you had had approximately 3 glasses of wine. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that your husband was drinking Wild Turkey and Diet Coke.
Yes.
And you told them when they asked you that you and Karen were not together the whole time of the party. You didn't watch her every minute of the party.
Correct.
And you left the party and went to McDonald's and then went to your house.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You and your husband and Karen left the party.
Yes.
Went to McDonald's.
Yes.
And then went to your house.
Yes.
Where she planned on spending the night.
Yes.
You said that she planned on picking up her daughter in the morning.
Yes.
And you mentioned that she had work to do at the Habitat House in Trimble or wherever it is.
Yes.
Okay. She left when she got a phone call from her daughter, Ashley.
Yes.
Ashley wanted her to come.
Yes.
And you watched her walk out, and you and your husband asked her, in light of what she had to drink, if she was okay to drive.
Yes.
And you didn't talk to her or hear from her anymore that night.
Correct, yes.
And then the next afternoon, you texted, didn't you tell the police that you texted her around 3:50? To say, text her number to say that the police were looking for you?
Well, what page would that be?
Page 18. Well, you texted her before that, but you texted
Yes,
her
texted
later
her
on.
before that, yes.
About 11:52.
Mm-hmm.
And then you texted her later on about the police looking for her. Is that correct?
Yes.
Karen had access to the phone that you and your husband provided to her.
Yes.
You gave her that phone. You and your husband gave her that phone some time months before.
Yes.
Even though she had another phone.
Yes.